All right, algoriters, welcome to Wednesday's show of Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. This is where fame meets the law tonight. I'm your host, Al Reynolds. Today, we're diving into the legal controversies shaking Hollywood and beyond, from accusations of fraud to historic judicial milestones. The rich and famous are not exempt from the scales of justice. Stay tuned. This isn't just gossip. It's law, order, and consequences. So before we get started, let's meet the legal beagles that are joining us tonight. First up, we have from Florida, Jason Weiss. Jason, welcome back to Celebrity Court.
Thank you for having me once again. I am so excited to be here, and I can't wait to get going.
Tell me, Jason, what did we decide is your emoji?
I think we went with a shield because I like to protect people.
That's right. So that's right, everybody. Throw that shield in the chat for Jason Weiss.
The Captain
Jason
America
Weiss.
one.
Huh?
The Captain America one. That's the one we need.
All right. Joining Jason tonight, we have the one, the only Ask Ashley. Or no, what is it? Ask Ashley.
Entertainment Esquire.
Oh, Entertainment Esquire. Ashley, welcome back to Celebrity Court.
Stars for me.
That's right. The stars for Ashley. And last but not least, humorist at law, the one and only Sean Carter. Welcome back to Celebrity Court.
Happy to be here.
All right, we've got some hot topics tonight, everybody. Now, listen, be sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you're subscribed, don't forget to hit that share button and invite a friend over to learn a little bit about the law and the celebrities who are in trouble with the law. Also, turn on your notifications and always jump down in the comments because you know we love to hear from you. You are our jury. All right, Sean Carter, I forgot your emoji is the clown emoji, and my emoji is the fax machine. All right, let's get started. Court is now what? In session. First up, Sean Diddy Combs. Welcome back to Celebrity Court. He faces allegations of sexual misconduct and abuse. Our first case hits the music world. Sean Diddy Combs is under fire as his male accuser, goes public for the first time. The allegations are serious too and could lead to significant legal and financial consequences for the mogul. Bailiff, can we see the clip?
To your lawsuit, you were hired by a security firm to work security at one of the infamous white parties that was thrown by Sean Combs in the Hamptons. What was that experience like?
At first, he was incredibly friendly, very gracious.
So you had a friendly chat, and then, according to your lawsuit, at some point later in the night, Sean Combs himself offered you a drink. This didn't come from staff or someone holding a tray of drinks. It came from him directly.
Correct. The first drink started to have some effect on me, and I just thought, wow, these are really strong drinks. It wasn't until the second drink, and it was already too late, that I realized that there was something wrong with the drinks. Sadly, Sean Combs was waiting in the wings. He was watching from some sort of vantage point. And once I was in a helpless position and he was sure that he was in a position of power, then he took advantage of the situation.
You allege that you were
All right, let's go to you, Attorney Carter. Tell us a little bit more about this case. Now, allegedly, he was forced in the back seat of a truck and sodomized by Diddy. Sorry, not Sean Carter. I'm gonna go to Jay Carter. Attorney Jay Carter, tell us a little bit more about this case and what.
We got a lot of Carters on the panel. Other good brother, Sean Carter. I guess y'all talked about him earlier in the week. Jay-Z, aka Jay-Z, not this Sean Carter.
Yeah, not me.
Not you. So yeah, this particular case, as you guys recall, Busby opened up a hotline, right? An 800 number for people to submit their complaints. And there were about 120 complaints he came up with that he thought were viable. So this was one, right? This is one of the 120. And I think what's interesting about this case is it was filed and then it was refiled. But when it was refiled, Busby changed two important facts. One, in the amended complaint, he says, the victim says, oh, I was, because of the trauma of me being sodomized by Sean Puffy Combs, I never got married. But now in the amended complaint, he says he was married. He was married. He just never shared it with his wife because he was embarrassed. Like, how do you know whether you were ever married or not? I think that's very, very strange. And then he also, not as strange, he got the year wrong for the white party. I think maybe he originally said 2006 or 2007. It was actually a different year. Now, obviously, it's been some time. If you were traumatized, you may not get the year right. But those are two things in the complaint that were changed in the amended complaint. So Busby is coming out of under fire because this is actually one of two lawsuits that have changed some important facts in the complaints. I can't weigh on if this actually happened to this person, just like any other complaints that have been filed, obviously. But I will say, if you're going up against billion-dollar moguls, you better have something to support, some witness testimony, medical report, etc., to support your claims.
Attorney Weiss, does it matter that he used to be married but left it out in the complaint? Does it matter, given the accusations that he's making?
I don't think that matters. I think the point that Attorney Carter was bringing in, and I think is important, is, Busby shouldn't be running to the courthouse with all of these complaints and all of these things without doing his fact checking, without doing his information. He's sitting there, or someone in his office is sitting there taking down what people are saying and going ahead and filing sloppiness. And I understand mistakes happen. Look, we all file lawsuits. We all defend things. We all, ask for a Scrivener's error, which is, like, let me fix it. And we made an error. But I mean, this seems to be a pattern. It's rush, get in the limelight, get the press, get the attention, get whatever. And then, we'll clean it up if we have to, because I guess to stay in the news and to have it in there numerous times is better than just, a one hit and move on. But again, you gotta check those facts. Right.
Attorney Carter, before I throw to you, Sean Carter, Kenny Black says the sloppiness makes the victim look not credible. I agree with that. But it also starts to make Busby not look credible. And if you were P. Diddy's attorney, wouldn't you use this sloppiness to build a case around the irrelevance of what he's being charged of?
I know I would use it as a defense tactic to muddy up the waters and to take the attention away from the actual things and just to focus the attention on the attorney who's making the mistakes. If I were the defense attorney, the more mistakes at the plaintiff's attorney, I'd be smiling.
You'd be happy, right?
You got it. And as a victim, I would be very upset if my story isn't told right. Now, again, what we don't know is, did this John Doe who's making this allegation, did he screw up, or did Busby screw up, or we don't know. So that's going to come out. I don't think these complaints were verified. So that just, we don't know who's actually swearing to the truth.
But this is my issue here, Sean Carter. This is where I'm calling on you. This is where I need some understanding. He went on CNN, so CNN has a journalistic integrity, right, issue here. That if they are in fact putting non-credible, non-true stories on their network, doesn't that open the network up for suit? And they have deep pockets.
Yes and no. But remember, the defamation standard for public figures and for the media is really, really high. You don't just have to prove that what the person said was false, but that you knew it was false. You were trying to maliciously harm them, etc. And here's a problem that Diddy has with all of these cases. Because when Attorney Busby put out the 800 number and said, "Hey, call me," there were 100 people who called. He has 20 cases that he's filed already, so it's going to be some sloppiness. I mean, think about it. How do you file 20 lawsuits in a year? All right. Or in several months. And then all these cases are coming forward. There's going to be mistakes. There are going to be people who, by the way, are never been victims. My wife and I were doing a little year-end taxes today, and I looked at it and I was like, baby, you sure you haven't been to a white party? We overpaid some money here, and they're going to believe you. All right. And so there's going to be people who think that this is a lottery ticket. And so sadly, he's going to have to this attorney's going to somehow have to try to figure out who's legitimate, because there are legitimate victims, and who's just trying to get paid. And it's going to be difficult. He wasn't at any of these parties. And someone just said in the comments here, he had 10,000 calls and claims to have gotten it down to 120. I don't even know how you do that.
Well, my question is, when you sit down with the client, whether it's on Zoom or whether it's in your office, wouldn't you say to the client, okay, tell me your evidence, give me your evidence, give me your proof of what you are asserting? Isn't that what every attorney that I have ever hired requires me to convince them that I have that my rights were violated and that I have a case before they even take it on? Has things changed in this case, or is he just taking anything in hopes that, if he muddies the water enough, Diddy will try to settle and he'll get a cut? How about what you think about that, Attorney Weiss?
Oh, I think he's definitely going out and trying to just throw as much at the wall and see what's going to stick. And look, the more he gets his name in the paper, the more he can go ahead and, post his pictures on his jet and with his Gucci shoes and with his, I think he's got a tattoo on his wrist and all this kind of stuff. Like, look, as attorneys, we're not supposed to be the star, right? We're supposed to be the one that protects the star, and we're doing our job if our clients and us are not in the news. So I think, but Busby's doing this. Look, and someone put it in the comments, he's getting a third or possibly even 40% of whatever it's settled for. But what's almost as important in the dollar amount is also the publicity that he's getting here.
Yeah.
Everybody's calling this guy.
Yeah. Clearly, he's definitely making a name for himself, but not if it's going to be this sloppy. All right, Abby NYC, the MM family said, Sean Carter, give me extreme cheap husband vibes, like on the TLC channel.
I wasn't offended by the cheap husband part.
Oh, this crowd is tough.
I know, but the TLC thing, we're gonna talk about that, Abby. You wrong for that girl.
Abby is not having it. Okay, so let me ask all the attorneys this. Attorney Ashley Carter, female attorney Carter. Are these cases, they're no longer criminal, correct? These are civil cases. So is he betting on the fact that these are civil cases because the bar is much lower for civil cases? What's his strategy?
I think that's a part of it. Yeah, I think that's a part of it. I mean, if you think about it, it's usually preponderance of evidence, or more likely than not, it's not beyond reasonable doubt. Beyond reasonable doubt is for a criminal case. So he doesn't have as high of a standard, but it may not be as high of a standard, but it's still a standard. Like, what do you have to corroborate? He did say some of his 120 people have like medical, like they have medical exams. Some of them maybe have police reports. Like for those cases may have a little more strength because there's something to corroborate. But if you just have someone telling you a story, I don't know. I just feel like at this point, if it's just like Mr. Sean Carter said today, his wife could say, well, I was at this white party. Like, what do you have other than your story? Do you have any witnesses?
Right. That's what I want to know. So,
yeah. And you have to keep in mind, and I know we're not talking about Mr. Jay-Z tonight, but some people wondered why Busby was as bold to go after Jay-Z. P. Diddy is running out of money. Okay? He is not going to be able. He's not going to be able. Yeah, he's not going to be able to pay everyone. And at this point, I'm pretty sure he's not even insurable, because trust to believe, Cassie got paid from an insurance company. Not a dime came from Diddy's pocket. So I don't even think he has any insurance to even pay people at this point. So I say that to say that he is going to file as many complaints as he can. He's going to bring in as many celebrities as he can, because the strategy is to get paid. These
get
are
paid.
civil lawsuits, not criminal.
Okay, so last question, Attorney Weiss. In civil lawsuits, how do you decide who gets paid and when they get paid? If
Well,
they ever get paid.
as the plaintiff's attorney, we don't get to decide. Now if he's going in, and that's part of the problem, right? He's got what, 20 of them now, and he could have 120, and there's only this much money in the pot. You don't know how you're going to divide that up. What you're going to say that victim A was traumatized more than victim C, so A should get more and C should get more. Like, I think he's kind of doing a disservice to everybody, because now you got 20 people going after the same pot of money.
No. I understand that. No, that's not the question I'm asking. What I'm asking is, so for instance, these cases are only through Busby.
Mhm.
We're not talking about the case that's going on with sex trafficking and those victims and all the other people that have filed before the Busby people even got to the courthouse.
Right.
So do you have to try each case individually, and
Yes.
then based on when that case is settled or won, that's how you decide who gets paid?
You got it. Race to the courthouse, race to the finish line. The first one over the finish line gets the money. So if
So
someone
maybe that's what's motivating him to be so careless.
could be,
I
and
would
it could,
assume.
and it
right?
could just be that, look, at the end of the day, the victims may say, I want $250,000 in my pocket. Okay, so Busby can go ahead and he could
And he can
settle
get a
for
right,
400
gotcha.
grand,
Right.
Right, for
Yeah.
it to go away.
And by the way, we're talking about this guy. This is huge publicity. So anyone else who's been hurt in any other situation in New York that doesn't involve Diddy now knows at least one lawyer that is in that field. If he never got a dime out of this, it's probably worth it for him.
Yeah.
Because he's got this much free publicity, this much notoriety. Think about how oftentimes you see big time lawyers take cases for free with people who don't even have any money at all, because it's the marketing. It's just you can't buy that kind of advertising.
And you also want to be able to say, I did this, I represented, and he had NFL quarterbacks
against P. Diddy, one of the largest cases.
There you go.
It's okay. All right, let's keep it going. All right, next up, we have a feel-good story that I'm very excited about. President Biden celebrates the confirmation of the 40th Black female federal judge. All right, it's a moment of celebration in the legal world. President Biden has confirmed the 40th Black female judge to the federal bench. This milestone is a powerful step towards diversity in our judiciary. Let's take a look. Do we have a clip, or are we just showing? Okay, we're just showing a picture. All right, so this is my question. I need someone to help me understand, and I guess I'm gonna throw to you, Attorney Ashley Carter, because you are a Black female lawyer. Mm-hmm. Tell me, how significant is this as far as it relates to representation in the judiciary branch?
Well, I just think in the legal world, period, I probably say this statistic so much, people are tired of me saying it, but less than 5% of lawyers in the U.S. legal profession are Black, and then less than 2.5% are Black women. Mm-hmm. So, and then even less of that are Black female judges. So if you become a judge, you are truly a unicorn. You're truly a unicorn in this profession. So I think.
Now, hold on, is that a unicorn as a judge, or is it more of a unicorn as a federal judge? Is there a difference?
Even more of a unicorn, even more of a unicorn, because there are plenty of state. I mean, I don't want to say plenty. There are a lot of state judges, but a federal judge, that's a big deal.
How significant is that, Attorney Carter? You taught law school. What does that actually say, and how significant could it be given the change of guard and the new administration coming in?
Well, and that's really the issue, the change of guard. Biden has made a big push to get this done before he gets out of office, because he knows these are going to be the last sisters we see on the federal bench for a little while. No, I'm not kidding. So, for instance, Biden during this term has appointed 62 African-American judges, 40 women, all right, 22 men. Trump, in the 4 years he was in, 2. No sisters to the federal bench. Okay, so we understand where Trump's coming from. They're not going to be anymore, because, quite frankly, why would you want to have a highly qualified diversity hire when you can just hire, appoint your buddy who's a fellow felon? And so it's important that Biden does this because these are going to be the last few. And remember, these judges are the people who funnel up to the Supreme Court. You know,
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, you don't
So
take
what role, can you guys tell us what role, like, can you give us the order of judges? So obviously we know we have the Supreme Court is the highest, right? Under the Supreme
federal district judges right below, or federal appeals judges.
Well, exactly. So we have the circuit court. So it's the Supreme Court, the federal circuit courts. There are what?
Are 11, these judges in that federal circuit court?
No, and these I think are, well, some of them are, and some of them are in the district court. Yeah, okay. So it's federal, it's the Supreme, appellate, and district court. But remember, to get to the Supreme Court, you usually have to rise from the district to the appellate court, and then they choose you from one of those lower courts. So getting these people on both of those levels is important because you built into the pipeline. You know, you're not going to just be able to go from nowhere to being, you know, on the celebrity court to being in the Supreme Court. You're going to have to rise your way up.
All right, object. Watch around. How dare you? Don't you talk about celebrity court? We're the highest court in celebrity edition. Cut it out. All right. So, would any of you ever want to be federal judges?
100% yes, I would. 100%.
And Ashley,
I could take it or leave it.
I wouldn't do it.
No,
and no. Well, here's
we got the whole spectrum here. We got one that says yes, one that can take it or leave it, and one says no.
And here's the thing is,
he can't tell his jokes from the bench. That's the problem.
There you go. Partly that's it. You know about Justice Eakin, all right? Yeah. And also the idea is that I teach judicial ethics. Judges are judges 24 hours a day. Yeah. All right. You can't be in the club. All right. Everywhere you go as a judge, you are subject to scrutiny. I like to live, you know, on weekends. I like to do a little something. So I'm gonna have to stay off the federal bench.
Okay, Jason, you said yes, 100%. Why 100%?
100%. It would be something that I would be honored to do, something that I would love to do, something that I've thought about doing in the past, and I just think it would be just a great opportunity to maybe make some policy changes, maybe to examine some things that, you know, didn't go right the first time, or you know, maybe correct some wrongs. You know, that's one of the things. I also, you know, one of the things I just wanted to talk about with the appointment of Johnson, she's young. I think she graduated from law school in 2009.
Wow.
You know?
Oh,
so
wow.
she is extremely intelligent. Princeton and Wake Forest. I mean, you know, those two schools are no slouch. So she's a very intelligent individual, and that's what we need on the bench. We need smarts. We need people that can reason. We need people that can think, and people that aren't afraid to challenge. And I think it's a good pick.
Jay Carter, you can't be a federal judge because that means you can't do your little sexy pictures no more.
Ever.
On your vacations, flopping around in the pool.
I need to stay off my Instagram.
Hey, you can't. You have to shut that Instagram down, baby. They fire you.
Shut that Instagram down. I feel like as a judge, you should be able to go to the beach. You don't wear suits to a beach.
No, yes, you do. If you're a judge, you wear
you don't wear thongs. You don't wear thongs either with your clappers on.
No thongs on my Instagram page.
I'm about to go to Instagram right now. What is it?
You can go right to my Instagram.
Every New York City, the MM family said, Sean Carter, you can't be a cheap tipper. You can't be a cheap tipper if you are a judge.
But to your point out, it does come, and Sean, it does come with, I just think, an extra level of criticism. I think you have to be prepared. It's just like, it's like running for office. You're like actually like a politician. So it's like equivalent to that.
How do you get the federal judge appointment?
I mean, it's an appointment. You gotta really rule on some important cases. I mean, they watch you for a while. They watch your track.
But that's also kind of a political thing too, where you need to know somebody who knew somebody. Oftentimes, you have to be sponsored by a senator or a rep, right? That's going to be able to get in the presidency here and say, "Hey, we like this person." And so it's a political thing. You know, most of those people, most of the federal judges I've met are as smooth as any politician. All right. You know, they meet you, they know your name, they remember how many kids you have. They're politicians.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And
All
smart.
right,
They're just
everybody.
smart.
All right, everybody. These likes aren't liking. Please, for me, hit that like button. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you are subscribed, invite some friends over and tell them to hit this like and subscribe button as well. Don't forget to turn on your notifications. And I'm loving all of the comments, so keep them coming. Next up in celebrity court, former President Donald Trump appeals a New York court's fraud ruling. From the Oval Office to the courtroom, Donald Trump's legal battles continue. The former president is appealing a New York court's fraud ruling, which alleges falsified asset valuation. Attorney Weiss, what exactly is going on? And before you answer that, if this appeal fails, what are the financial implications of this?
Oh, he'll file bankruptcy, or he'll do something to protect his assets, or, you know, there's so many asset protection ways. And I'm sure he doesn't have, you know, more than 17 nickels to his name. Go ahead and collect. And, you know, what'd you say?
I said not 17 nickels.
17.
At least 18. At least 18. Jason, 18.
But
I mean, 17, 18 nickels is what?
90
No,
cents.
I can't do that.
90 cents.
20 nickels is $1, so 75 cents.
So let me ask you this. So basically, Trump tried to have all of this thrown out, and this judge has said, no, we're not throwing this out. So
he said it was all a witch hunt. That's what he said. This whole
you thought Donald Trump said it's a witch hunt. But the judge said, no, it's not, and I'm not going to excuse you for this. I need for somebody to break this down. What does this mean for Trump? Does this mean that he still owes the $430 million?
Well, but he's in the appeal process. So he's been appealing this all along. He's going to say, you know, that the evidence was tainted, whatever the things you would do in appeal. Now, the thing that's interesting here is he says, hey, I shouldn't have to do all that. I shouldn't have to do all that because I'm running the country. I ain't got time to be doing all this type of stuff. So let me just go. And he's trying to show some or argue presidential immunity, which might work if this was something that he was being sued for while he was in office, right? You know how all that goes, how complicated that is. But this is something that happened before you got to be president. And so, no, you don't get to get out of this. And I give you the great example of this. Bill Clinton, for instance, the reason we knew about Monica Lewinsky and all of that was a private lawsuit that involved behavior before he became president. And so they're saying the same thing. He can't, you can't run for president. So this way, if this were the case, if he could get out of this, Diddy would run for president. So that Diddy then could get out of it, you know, all this stuff. You don't have immunity for the stuff you did before you got in office. And so he's going to have to fight through this. But I could see at some point, maybe some court, maybe in the Supremes, because they kind of like him, saying, hey, you may have to wait until after he's out of office. We don't want our president going
they will postpone it because of how it affect. Okay, let me ask you this. Sonny Clark, I'm with you, buddy. Or I don't know if you're a female or a male. No disrespect. Who pays all of Trump's legal bills? It's gotta be $1 trillion by now.
You know, it's the people who buy those shoes. I saw today he was coming out with a book and another book, $100 book, the Bitcoin. All that stuff, he uses it to funnel into the legal fees.
He got the shoes, he's got the cologne, he's got the watch, he's got the coins, he's got the dog tag, you name it.
I haven't heard about the cologne and the watch. I have to look.
Oh, you can get it on the website.
Cologne is for men. He's got a female and a male cologne. Yeah. All right. I mean, that's just, he said all his rich colleagues. I don't really think his rich colleagues are giving him money.
I don't know. I think someone like Elon who really likes him
probably is splitting some of it. I think you're right on that. Yeah, I can see that.
It's a small check for Elon.
But remember what we said about Busby too. Sometimes you do it for the publicity. You know,
that's true. Sometimes you don't do it for the money. Yeah,
right? I represented Trump, and
you represented me.
Well, and remember also, we know
Jason. Actually, this is funny. Jason represented me, and I was a professor. I was a professor at a university. I did not have the money to fight. You know, the lawyers that he was fighting was the blacks in Florida. And anybody that know Lawyer Black, You do not mess with him. But Jason, well, he wasn't fresh out of law school, but I always give my friends a chance to represent me for free.
And you know what? I jumped at it. Not me. I jumped at it because it was Al. Secondarily was everything else. I mean, this guy, I didn't care. It didn't matter. I mean, you do what you think is right. You represent the people that is right. And sometimes it's not only about the money. The money is nice, but sometimes it's not only about it.
His wife was like, dump that client.
Oh, absolutely not.
All right, everybody, let's keep it moving. All right, next up. That's very interesting with that. I guess what is the takeaway here? Like, is he ever going to be held responsible for anything? That's just what
I think the takeaway is if and when he is held responsible, it will be after he's president. They're going to toll everything while he's president. I think we can count on things being told until he's president, because at this point he even had some federals. He had the Georgia case that they're holding off on. I think his federal cases in Florida and New York, they would have to refile those because at least one of the federal cases were actually tossed out. So I just don't think there's going to be a lot of momentum while he's president
for the next 4 years. So you think it might be a repeat of Rudy Giuliani? Because I really feel like after Trump's presidency, he basically got the book thrown at him, and they executed his behind, and it was very wonderful to watch.
We shall see. According to Trump, we don't have to vote anymore. This was the last.
Oh gosh, I know these are some crazy times. All right, everybody.
What he's up
to. All right, next up, rapper NBA YoungBoy. Welcome to Celebrity Court. He receives a 23-month prison sentence for gun charges. All right, we're going to turn to the hip-hop world now, and whoa, boy, are they under fire. He is sentenced to 23 months in prison for gun-related charges. This decision has sparked debate among fans and legal analysts. Federal gun laws are strict, and sentencing often depends on prior convictions. For YoungBoy, this could mean a challenging path forward for his career. All right, attorney Sean Carter, talk to me why his sentencing was so minimal.
Actually, I want to defer on this one. Can I defer to the other Carter to really explain this one?
Okay.
Well, this is what I'll say about this. And I know we're just focusing right now on this particular gun case, but the reason why he got 23 months in this is because simultaneously to this gun case, I don't know if he was pretending to be a doctor or he had people on his team pretending to be a doctor. He had a pharmaceutical ring.
Right, he did have it, right. But that's why I was wondering, why did he only get 2
So what happened was the judge felt bad, like, look, you're going to spend almost 2 years on this other gun case. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to give you any jail time in this pharmacy thing, pharmaceutical scam, okay, or a ring. I'll just give you like probation. You have to pay a fine, because she knew that he was going to get at least 2 years on this gun case. So I guess you're probably wondering, well, why are these judges just being so kind of soft on him? I think they
exactly.
I think because first of all, he's very young, and he has been having issues. He came out as a teenager. And so it just seems like his path, even though he's become famous, that he actually needs help. And I think they are looking.
Okay, let's break that down, because remember the judge at the state that he was in before he started the ring allowed him to go out of the state to a whole different other state, buy a mansion, and they believed him when he said, I am going to be in rehab. I don't need to go to jail. I'm going to get my life in order.
and to be fair,
in this mansion, he creates an entire drug ring on painkillers.
But at least he wasn't taking them. He wasn't getting.
Jesus Christ!
I'm just saying, it's a different crime. Like,
but the people he was selling it to were dying.
I understand that, but what he's saying is, I did my best to just stay in my house on my property in the middle of nowhere. I did hold up my bargain there. I didn't leave. I didn't go anywhere. But the problem is, I think he got bored, and I think he got involved with the wrong people that said, hey, well, while you're here, you're kind of stuck in the house. We can make all
Why
this
don't you just
money.
go ahead and create a drug ring? We got plenty of rooms. The rest, come on, everybody, just come on in here, pick up your drugs,
pharmaceuticals.
get
They
high
probably looked
upstairs
at
in
it.
room number 10.
But he posed as a doctor.
I know.
What?
Well, I don't know.
Doctor.
It's not adding up, Carter.
I'm just saying, at the end of the day, I understand you're saying, okay, they let him off the hook to go to Utah and be in the middle of nowhere so he could not cause any problems. And he, in fact, still caused problems. I agree with you, Al.
Bigger than the problems that he left.
But he posed as a doctor, and he posted pictures of him with guns. And that is how he got caught. He posted it, just like the IG account that Al was talking about a couple of minutes ago. It was posted. It's there, and everybody sees it. Now, according to the judge, and according to what I read, he thinks that it's important for rehab, and that he wants him to walk the straight and narrow and get to a place where he can make decisions that are unfettered and all of this. So basically, the judge is saying, look, I feel sorry for this kid. He is a kid. He's made a lot of mistakes. We're going to give him one more shot at it. But
Don't live in a mansion in Utah.
But as we spoke yesterday, you could win a $4.1 million judgment and still go back to jail over a $1,200 cocaine fight. So
that's crazy. That's really crazy. And then
after I get back, I exceeded my time, because I wanted you guys to actually discuss the legal things. I want to talk about NBA YoungBoy, and let me tell you why. I mean, this is just simple. All right, if you are, by the way, convicted felon, then guess what? And you need to have protection, then have somebody else in the crew hold the guns. Okay? This is simple for everything. All right? Obama had a lot of heat when he was president. A lot of people didn't like the fact that he was president. You never saw Obama on IG, right? On POTUS.com, like, you don't do that, right? Matter of fact, part of being rich is that you don't do your own shooting. All right. You don't even have to go to the store for yourself. So the fact that you're on there trying to do this, it's like, this idea a lot of these guys don't understand. I see it all the time. It's like, it's tough out here in these streets. I want to prove I'm in these streets. I'm in these streets every day with Crocs and cargo shorts. All right. That's tough. All right. You got guns and Uzis, whatever. Yeah, ain't tough. Anybody can pull the trigger. All right. Be tough with security. And I don't get it too much. Even Jay-Z, in whatever problems he has outside of this, you notice that as he's grown up, you don't see Jay-Z doing that. He got other people to handle that for him.
Change his PR. All right, Wanda Lloyd said he has 11 kids.
Yeah, I think we're concerned about that too, him being away from his children. I think that played a part as well.
Are they all?
He's always away.
No, they're not from the same mother. Now, Al, one lady.
I know, but then listen, he's away from. He's clearly away from his kids already.
Exactly.
What are we talking about?
He wouldn't recognize those kids. He wouldn't recognize those. He wouldn't be able to pull those kids, pick those kids out of a police lineup. He don't know those kids. How you gonna know 11 kids?
He know all of their names.
I got 4 kids live in my house.
He has a whole compound. They come to visit him. No, he spends.
Polygamy is legal in Utah.
Well, no. I'm not saying all the mothers live there, but he has a huge compound so that they can come and visit. Supposedly, he's spiritually married to one of the women. I don't think he actually got an actual license. So one of the women he actually married, she's out there in Utah. But his most famous child's mother is Mayweather's daughter, Yaya Mayweather.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's the most famous, and she'll be okay. Obviously, her last name's Mayweather. The child's last name is Mayweather. He doesn't, But I think to the point of going back to your initial question, your question about why is the sentencing seem so soft? I think they know he's such a young kid. He's got all these kids. They know he has a problem. So I just think they're just giving him a chance.
I don't understand it. Like, just having 11 kids outside of anything else is illegal to me. I mean, I need you to put him somewhere and cut it off or give him something. Something to change with this young man across the board, in my opinion. But hey,
exactly. How about this?
He's like 25 years old.
How about this?
He may be younger than that. I think he may only be 23 or 24.
He's 24.
11 kids. I think
he's 24, right?
Kids in 6 years.
He was born in '99, so he just celebrated his 25th birthday.
25th. Okay.
All I know is this: is that I'm willing as a judge to give him maybe 6 months off if you get a vasectomy.
Right?
That's not gonna happen.
It's crazy. 11 kids. I know you said, well, he has them over to the compound. I got 4 kids live in this house. All right. I call them by the wrong name all the time. All right. They live in here every day. And I'm just in there like, hey, George. Oh, yeah, I don't even have no kid named George. All right. And so I know no way in the world he can have anything. You think he know what any of those kids' doctors what the school teachers' names? He don't know middle names.
One of the comments was great. He's starting his own football team. That's it.
He said he got 4. He calls them all different names. I come from 6, and my mother never got my name right.
Exactly.
I thought I was adopted for the longest time. I swear I thought I was adopted for the longest time. All right, everybody, let's move it along. Oh, gosh, this next case really is making my boil skin, but we are all divided here in celebrity court. Danielle Penny defends himself in the Subway chokehold case. All right, our final case that has divided public opinion. Danielle Penny is charged in the death of Jordan Neely during a Subway altercation, and he's finally breaking his silence. Penny argues self-defense, but prosecutors say otherwise because the case underscores the complexity of using force in public confrontations. This is what I want to get into. Self-defense claims is what he did. Must prove an imminent, right? If he is claiming self-defense, he must prove an imminent threat of harm. In this high-profile case, public opinions often influence jury's perceptions. And the jury, has decided that it was, in fact, self-defense. Attorney Sean Carter, what are your thoughts on this case?
Well, 2 things. One,
sorry. Hold on. Let's look at the video. I think we have a video. Let's look at the video first.
The former Marine enduring years of vicious left-wing attacks who vilified him as a racist. But Penny has no regrets, and here's why.
What in you caused you to want to get involved?
I mean, I'm not a confrontational person. I don't really extend myself. And like this type of thing is very uncomfortable. All this attention and limelight is very uncomfortable. And I would prefer with.
So let me jump in here really quickly, and I'm gonna give my 2 cents. First of all, that interview, he looked overly coached, heavily coached. Because if you watch that video, the way he jumped in and the force that he used didn't appear to me as a citizen concerned about everybody else in that subway.
Exactly.
Because remember, his defense was he was so threatened, right? That his life was threatened, that he had to choke this man out after everybody else cleared away, got off the train, to the point where he took the man's life. Second point that I want to make, I lived in New York City for 23 years, and I rode the subway for a number of years. And the subway, just like I think Abby NYC, the MM family, says she's divided because she rides the train or rode that train. This happens on the train all the time, guys. I mean, the train is full of performers. This young man is a performer. He's well known as a performer in the subway. They're always like mental health issues where people are screaming on the train. I got a gun. I got a knife. Get out my face. A lot of drug users and all that stuff. And most New Yorkers who ride those trains, we either move ourselves out of the situation or we ignore it. So I want to hear you guys' thoughts, because you guys clearly are lawyers who would have to hear this type of case, and you don't live in New York City, so you don't have the full context. Do you think that the type of force that he used on this young man was necessary? Attorney Sean Carter, what are your thoughts?
It obviously wasn't necessary. It's not necessary to kill someone to restrain them. So it's obviously excessive. I've gone back and forth through this case time and time again. And because there's a part of me, and I think this is why, it worked with the jury. And what got me was I thought he got a hung jury at first. He got not guilty. Right?
Yes, he got not guilty. I think wasn't the
So the first
hung.
one, so for manslaughter, he got a hung jury.
That's
For
right.
Criminal
That's right.
negligence or criminal whatever, criminal negligence, he got not guilty.
Right, which is bizarre to me because it should could be the other way around, where you'd have some people thinking it might or might not have been. Most people thinking it wasn't manslaughter, but some people thinking it might or might have been negligence. Because I think criminal negligence is a much stronger charge. I think it's the one he's probably most likely guilty of. It's negligent. All right, you're not. Hopefully, he would say, "I didn't mean to kill the guy. It was an accident."
Right.
All right, which would be negligence.
But that wasn't his claim.
His claim was I meant to kill him.
His claim was that he was protecting himself and that he was so threatened that's what led to him to use these extreme forces.
Yeah, but he didn't say he meant to kill him. I think he said he
Right.
meant to defend himself. And I just as an update, I actually lived in New York. I went to law school in New York. Yeah,
Okay.
so I agree with you, Al. I rode plenty of trains, and you just either ignore the person screaming and acting crazy, or you just move your seat. I have never. I think there was someone in the comments that said, "I don't even see people giving a seat to a pregnant woman." Like, people ignore people in New York. You could be walking down the street, bleeding, dying, and people will literally stand over your body and keep walking. So this is to me. If you had been, I'm pretty sure he had not ridden that train for the first time. You've ridden trains before. You've seen other people probably scream and shout. Why this particular time? Because you would have to tell me, I've ridden the train and I've never seen anybody do an outburst.
Right.
And I can't believe he's never seen anybody do an outburst on the train. So to me, you decided this time, for whatever reason, to take it upon yourself to attack this person, essentially to calm him down, to get him to stop.
And let's also talk about his weight. Let's talk about the guy who he choked out's weight and his size in comparison. The young man couldn't have been more than 140 pounds.
Right, he was a very small stature
very
guy.
frail guy.
Even if you wanted to shut him down because you felt his ranting and raving, let's go down a rabbit hole. Let's just say you thought that the ranting and raving was going to turn into him being dangerous to you and the people around you. Let's just give him that argument.
Okay.
It did not take you choking him to the point of dying to kind of calm him down or get him to kind of shut up. I think if he had just kind of attacked him and held him, like, stop disturbing everybody on the train, the guy would still be alive. I think that the extent of what he did, to Sean Carter's point, I think at a minimum it was clearly criminally negligent. I think at a minimum. I also don't like the fact that they said that they couldn't do the beyond the reasonable doubt regarding the self-defense, right? That was the biggest thing. But the second thing they said, there were some other factors that the defense brought in that contributed to his death, that he had drunken something or taken some sort of drug or whatever before, so that may have killed him. No. The main medical report shows he died because of whatever asphyxiation. Right. So the fact that they tried to sprinkle in even reasonable doubt, like, the choking didn't actually even kill him, I thought that was kind of like insulting. Right?
Well, I thought it was a repeat. I thought it was a repeat of George Floyd. I want to hear Attorney Weiss. Attorney Weiss, this has really created a divide. Not only in America, but, between the African Americans in New York City, and they're calling this racist. As a white male in the judicial system, as a lawyer, what are your thoughts on this?
So first, I want to bring the fact that he is a Marine. Okay, so he had special training, and I don't want to make light of it, but look, the movie Con Air, they convicted Nicolas Cage's character because he was just out there defending, and he was considered a trained weapon. He had special training. Okay, so this gentleman had special training. You want to use self-defense as your defense? Okay, I can respect that, but you're only allowed to use as much force as you think is going to be inflicted upon you. So I wouldn't have a problem if he pushed him away, if he held him down. Look, we all have these things that are attached to us nonstop, and it's very easy to hit 3 buttons, 911. Hey, something's going on here, and I'm restraining the guy. Look, it's it went too far.
I think so.
I think he probably had good intentions going into it and just went too far. You know, like he thought he was going to be this guy. I'm helping, you know, the people, and I'm doing all this, and you know, I don't want to be in the limelight, but you know, how can I let this happen?
I don't buy any of that. Don't want to be in the limelight. I think, like I said, he was heavily coached. I want to get to Professor Sagittarius, and I want to go back to Abby NYC, the MM family. So Professor Sagittarius said, I work with veterans. I think he had a mental break from his PTSD being as a veteran. I think if you watch that video, everybody, if you get a chance to watch it, the way something came over this man's eyes, because it was not it could not have been a physical threat, given that I think, like you said, he's one of the most highly trained Marines, one of the hardest, whatever, the Green Beret, whatever it is, he was that. To be so threatened by this small person who clearly has a mental health issue, I don't buy that. He said the behavior was a trigger, probably not condoning his action. I agree with you, Professor Sagittarius. Hold on really quickly. Abby NYC, the MM family. I've been riding that train all my life. More men need to step up. It does get violent at time, or at least scare them enough to not get in your face. Okay, Abby, I agree now, because we've all been on the train and we've seen situations get ugly, especially with men grabbing on women. 100% agree. But that wasn't what this young man was doing.
Right.
Okay.
There's no evidence that he even tried to touch anybody.
No, he didn't touch anybody. But my understanding is that he was saying, "I'm going to kill people."
Right.
No. He actually said, "I'm going to kill myself."
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's what
and
he
what
said.
you do is you dial 911,
or you pull the train cord, or you pull the train cord for emergency. Right. And if you are really a trained military person, you restrain them by holding them.
Exactly.
He can't bite you. He can't kick you. You put him in a certain hold. You can put him on the hold on his stomach or on his back. You've been trained to do that. You know how to put a person in a restraint until help arrives. Okay. All right. Well,
I'm going to get back to what I said, though. You can only use as much force as you think is going to be used. So come on.
There's no way he thought that man was going to overdo
Bingo. Bingo.
Absolutely not.
No, he did not. But here's the thing is, well, he should not have. But here's the thing is, remember, it has to be the jury when they look at it. They look at it from a standpoint of what's reasonable. And here's the problem we have in America, and it happens. We see it in George Floyd. We see it in Philando Castile. We see it all the time. Is that when a jury of people, all right, look at a young black man, they always assume that this brother might have been doing anything. He might have been on PCP. They think we're all incredibly strong and we have, et cetera. And so the problem is that when you start looking at that perception, then it creates these situations where people do things to us, and when you would say, he can't hurt you. And if you ask a typical jury of regular citizens, they would say, oh yeah, any black man is an absolute threat to you.
The bias is already there.
The bias is already there.
Well, yep. And also what was interesting, I thought, was the jury selection. There were more people that did not live, allegedly, that did not live in New York City that were on the jury. They came from, like, a Long Island or whatever. And, maybe that.
That's the last thing. I looked this guy up because I wanted to see your point. I've been, by the way, I spent the summer in New York. When I was in law school, I said, I want to go to New York to the big firms. If I can make it there, I can make it anywhere. It's up to you. I sang the whole song on Central Avenue. On Fifth Avenue. I did the whole thing. But the thing is that you're right. The train is crazy. It's absolutely nuts, right? But if you're not familiar with that, right, would you know to just, hey, ignore this person? And so I looked it up, and this guy's from West Islip. ISLIP, whatever.
Yeah, Queens.
Which is kind of a suburb, right? It's a little bit outside of New York. And so I'm not sure he has the excuse, like, because the thing, if you were from Nebraska, I would understand why you might overreact.
Right, why you would overreact.
I've been on a train before. He should know that he's a little crazy out there. And so he has less of a claim there. But that's why they want those jurors that don't ride the train every day. So that they would look at it and go, oh, he was.
Yeah, I would too. Yeah. I can see that. All right, everybody, we cut short for time here. All right, this is the time of the show that we go to the jury and answer your questions, though we don't have many. First up, 901 Cash G said, I have one question. Why are all of the people filing the lawsuits using the same words? Helpless positions of power.
You got the same lawyer who's drafting the same complaint.
Yeah, drafting the same complaint. Yeah, yeah. And he's not spending time
He ain't
outside of his
drafting them.
practice. He's not exactly. All right, Cash 901 Cash G question. Why are the clients of Busby using the same? Okay, we answered that. Okay. Billy Littles, what's up, buddy? I haven't seen you in a while. Busby has zero credibility. However, the accusers being made for Jay-Z once upon a time were made for Diddy. Now we ask how we got away with it for so long. Shaking my head. Yeah, I guess you could say that. I think Shaitan made a very good point last night when we were having the conversation. We can't pretend like Jay-Z wasn't the man back in the day, an up-and-coming rapper where had money, had cars, had fame, had access, and women were not. He didn't have women in his life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think her point resonated with me in that this happened 20 plus years ago. And because it's anonymous, he doesn't know exactly who is bringing the case against him. How is he supposed to? You know what I mean?
Like, how do you defend yourself if you don't?
Yeah, because the thing you don't want to do, which I thought was clever, was you don't want to come up and the woman has pictures of you.
Right.
And you got pictures and red video.
Right.
And
You want to be able to mount a defense against who it actually is.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You got to remember back in the day when all this happened, we weren't all carrying around iPhones and whatever. So
right.
yeah.
There's another good question from Professor Sagittarius.
Huh?
Yeah, they said
another
it
good
have been better
question.
to file a class.
Yeah, no, I
action.
haven't gotten there yet.
right.
Kenny Black says, can you explain how HOV is requesting an expedited process and the impact it has since he's listed with Diddy, and the fact that we don't do civil before criminal?
You have the right to file a motion to dismiss whenever you want to file it. And in this case, the basis of the motion to dismiss is that they're saying if you do not force this person to name themselves, this is one of the bases of why we think this should be dismissed. I mean, this is a great strategy for Jay-Z's lawyer to get this dismissed as soon as possible. He doesn't want this hanging over his head. I mean, the Super Bowl is in February. I think this trial will be sometime after February. Like, this is not, if you can get this dismissed for any reason, including the fact that she's not naming herself, I think it's just strategy to do it sooner versus later. Also, yes, typically civil lawsuits are typically filed after criminal because you want to get that guilty verdict so that you can carry that victoriously into a civil case. But you don't have to, but typically strategically. But as Sean Carter said, the lawyer said, and I think even Jason said, I don't think they can afford to wait because the money is gonna run out. So some of this is being filed so quickly due to money issues, riding the hype of all the cases. There's a lot of reasons why these things are happening as quickly as.
All right, let's go to Tanya Kelly. He has about 20 babies. What did women see in him? Never mind, it's money. Praise Lord Jesus, don't let them end up like him. And Professor Sagittarius said, would it have been better to file a class action versus individual suits? No, you can't do class actions with sexual assault, right? I don't know.
Yeah, unless it were at this. You usually have to have a very common set of facts.
Right.
So for instance, if everyone at one party had they could have then bring a class action, but this happens over 20 years. People say it's in different parties, different situations, all different, so you have to try them all separately.
All right, here we go. This is the part of the show where we, the judge, as well as our legal beagles, give the verdict of guilty or not guilty. First up, oh boy, is Sean Diddy Combs' accuser guilty or guilty? Is he guilty or innocent in telling the truth? We want to know, is he telling the truth? What do we feel in public opinion about this new person, this man coming forward? Is he telling the truth or not telling the truth? Attorney Weiss, what are your thoughts?
I'm not sure. I think, and I hate to say it, that's a perfect lawyer answer. I think he thinks he's telling the truth. But I honestly, there are a lot of holes in there and a lot of things. And you know, I still think that there's a driving force behind it. And unfortunately, I don't think it's the victims. I think it's some of the legal team involved, and we'll leave it at that.
Okay, I'm with you on that. Attorney Jay Carter, guilt is the young man or older gentleman lying or telling the truth?
I echo I echo Jason's sentiments. I think there's some holes there. Maybe not all his fault in terms of the holes, but there are definitely some holes there, and I would like to see his additional further corroborating evidence.
Attorney Carter?
You know, this is not the right thing to say, the politically correct thing to say. It seems like an implausible story. Remember, the story is that he got him drunk, and that's part of Diddy's thing. He drugged him, and then he dragged him out to a car, which is weird because you're in a house that has beds, etc. And then he you know, abused him inside the car. It's hard to have sex with somebody who wants to have sex with you inside a car. All right, trust me. I tried it before. All right.
Now, when you're a teenager, you can
exactly right
out of the car, baby.
Yeah, you got your leg out the window and your arm through the hatch through the sunroof. Right, it's hard to do that, and that's with someone who want to have sex with you, right? And so the story doesn't seem right. How do I say that?
Yeah,
as grown folks say, this milk ain't clean.
Something in the milk ain't clean. All right, I'm Al. I'm the judge here. I'm gonna say, in court of public opinion, I don't believe him. Okay. For some reason, I don't believe him. I think that it's the story. It's in the back of a truck, like in the back seat of a truck. And I also, I used to live near Diddy in the Hamptons, and it's just something about the setup that doesn't make sense. But what I will say makes sense is I think this attorney, Busby, is not as sloppy as we think. I think he's setting us up with these sloppy cases first for his more significant cases later. And in this case, I think this was his introduction of proving that Diddy has male same-sex relations, because he's going to introduce a more serious case with a younger man, a younger boy later.
Maybe.
But again, there's going to be no money left.
I know, but I just feel like, and I feel like the one that's coming later is one that's collaborating with the Homeland Security people. But that's just me. All right, next up, I think there's some rhyme to his reason. It's unclear now, but I think there is. All right, next up, President Biden, is he guilty or not guilty of making Black women powerful in the judicial system? Jay Carter, what say you?
I mean, he's not guilty. He's
guilty. He's guilty of making powerful Black women.
But
yes, he is.
Well, you said it the other way around. Well, I'm not going to say not guilty. I'm saying he's doing the right thing.
All right, perfect. Attorney Sean Carter?
Absolutely. He needed to do he need to find a way to stay in office about another 4 years.
Attorney Weiss?
I'm in agreement with the appointment. I think it was a right appointment. I think it was a great pick.
All right, I'm Al Reynolds, and I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court. And yes, Biden, you are guilty of advancing Black women, and we love everything about it. And I think you should throw some men in there. Some Black men need to have some powerful positions as it relates to the judicial system, because we're the ones that get caught up in it the most. Just saying, Biden, think about it. Next up, Trump. Is he guilty or not guilty of belly aching about having to serve his time or pay his crime? Attorney Weiss, what say you?
Oh, he is belly aching, and he is guilty of belly aching, and he's going to go ahead and find whatever way he can to avoid penalties and avoid everything else. And so guilty.
All right, Attorney Jay Carter.
He's definitely guilty, and nothing will happen to him until after he's president.
It won't even happen then.
All right. I agree with you, Weiss. Attorney Carter, Sean Carter.
I can't say any better than that. Guilty. And I would say this, though, that there's a decent strategy to try to basically wait until you're dead to have all your debts come out. My daddy did that one, and it wasn't a bad strategy for him. So I ain't mad at it.
So let me
might not have worked out for you, though.
I know why your daddy tried that. Attorneys, let me ask you this, though. If he dies in all those civil cases or whatever, doesn't that go after his estate?
Yep. It'll survive.
They could go off prison.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm Al Reynolds, and I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court. And we're going to find Donald Trump guilty. Guilty is charged for belly aching, but smart strategy. NBA YoungBoy, is he guilty or not guilty of just being like procreating too much? Procreating too much and having too much sex. So, Attorney Weiss, what say you?
I say he's guilty, but he's in for an awakening.
Yeah, Attorney Jay Carter.
Definitely guilty. Guilty.
Attorney Sean Carter.
Yep, he's guilty of not having somebody else carry the gun. Hey, this is not hard.
All right, I'm Al here, and I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court, and I'm going to find him guilty of not only being just young and dumb and full of. That's what he's guilty of. Okay?
He ain't guilty anymore.
That's what he is guilty of, and sharing it with too many women. Okay. All right. Next up, Daniel Penny. This is a tough one. Is he guilty or not guilty of exerting too much force when it was not necessary and killing this young man, taking this young man's life? Attorney Jay Carter, what say you?
Guilty, too much force.
Attorney Weiss?
Guilty, too much force.
Attorney Carter?
I wasn't there, didn't hear all the evidence, but it doesn't seem to me that it's necessary to kill someone to restrain them. So it has to. So I got to say guilty.
All right, unanimously, we on the panel. I'm Al, and I'm the judge here in court, Celebrity Court of Public Opinion, and we're going to find Penny guilty of excessive force. Not guilty of protecting yourself, but definitely guilty of excessive force. All right, everybody, please hit that like button because the likes aren't liking. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you are subscribed, share the subscribe button and invite some friends over to watch the show with you. Turn on your notifications. And as always, thank you for dropping down in the comments. Today's stories, let me tell you, reminds us of the delicate balance between fame and accountability. From allegations of abuse to historic achievements, the law remains a constant force that continues to shape our society. Whether it's justice served or milestones achieved, every case offers lessons for us all. Thanks for watching Celebrity Court. And until next time, stay informed and stay empowered. Court is now adjourned.
All right.